Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:30. Actually, it's 6:32, so we're a couple of minutes late this evening. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'll note for the record that all members of council are present except for Councilman Binder. He shot me a note just a few minutes ago saying it would be about 5 minutes late, so we expect him to join us shortly. Pardon? Any more days, may miss the whole meeting. Actually, I've talked so long about it, he's already here. So all members of council are present and accounted for. As usual, we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe we have some special guests that were going to lead us in the pledge today. It is. Okay. So if y'all speak into that mic, we can hear you better.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. Thank you very much. First item up on the agenda will be the consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of the council meeting minutes from the meeting of December 6, 2021, and alcoholic beverage license applications. First one being PH-21-AB-31 Fresher Brands, Alpharetta, LLC, DBA Cercheros Fresh Mex, 91 South Main Street, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30009. Second alcoholic beverage license application is PH-21-AB-32 HVM, Alfreda, LLC, DBA Doubletree by Hilton Hotel Atlanta, Alpharetta, 2925 Jordan Court, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30004. Is there anyone who would like to remove anything from the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, a second. I believe that one was Burnett by a nose. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. It does pass unanimously. I will note for the record, for anyone who is here for the public hearing item that was advertised, that item has been deferred. It will not be heard tonight, will not be decided tonight, and the applicant has asked to defer it. We expect it to be on the agenda for February 7th, 2021. So we have no other public hearing business this evening, and we'll move on to the new business portion of tonight's meeting. First item under new business is a resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta nonpartisan general election held on November 2nd, 2021. Ms. Shapiro.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first new business item tonight is to certify the election results from our November 2nd election. So at this time, we're just asking Mayor and Council to adopt a resolution certifying those results that were provided to us from Fulton County. They did provide us with returns from each of our polling places within the city for posts 1, 2, and 3 to elect 3 members of City Council for 4-year terms for a full term in the amount of 4 years.
Let's make sure we get that right. We don't want to get in trouble.
Yes. So for City Council post 1, that was for Donald Mitchell, the incumbent, 3,690 votes. City Council post 2, that will be for Brian Will, 3,048 votes. And post 3, Douglas J. Dorito, 2,922 votes. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer, but that is all for the presentation.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Shapiro this evening? Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Stacy, may we have the resolution read?
A resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta nonpartisan general election held on November 2, 2021, whereas pursuant to an ordinance approved and adopted by the mayor and city council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, hereinafter council on June 28, 2021, a nonpartisan general election was called to be held in the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, on Tuesday, November 2, 2021, to elect 3 members of the City Council, posts 1, 2, and 3, for a full four-year term each, and whereas due and proper legal notice of the election was provided as required by law, and whereas the city contracted with Fulton County to conduct the election on behalf of the city, whereas the election was held on November 2, 2021, and conducted in all respects in accordance with the election laws of the state of Georgia, Fulton County, and the charter and ordinances of the City of Alpharetta, and whereas the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections hereinafter board, as election superintendent, has certified to the city that the results of the election were as follows: City Council Post 1, Donald Mitchell, incumbent, 3,690. Donna Shaw Murphy, 2,904. Write-in votes 30. City Council Post 2, Michael Krupe, 2,165. Abu Jala, 1,143. Brian Will, 3,048. Write-in votes 39. City Council Post 3, Douglas J. Dorito, 2,922. Daniel McAllen, 2,180. Trey McConnell, 1,227. Write-in votes 37. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the results of the election as set forth above are hereby declared by the mayor and city council as a result of the November 2, 2021 City of Alpharetta general election.
Thanks, sir.
No, sir, there are no comments.
But if there's anyone here that would like to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that council approve the resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta nonpartisan general election held on November 2, 2021, as read by City Attorney Stacy.
A motion by Councilman Heights, a second by Councilman Merkel, and that was to approve the motion to approve the adoption of the resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta nonpartisan general election held November 2nd, 2021, and the resolution as read by City Attorney Mike Stacy. Any comments? All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. Next item up under new business will be item B, resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta Parks Bond Referendum election held on November 2nd, 2021. Ms. Shapiro, you also have the floor on this.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item before you is a resolution declaring the results of the Alfreda Parks Bond that was also held during the election on November 2nd, 2021. So at this time, we're asking Mayor and Council to adopt a resolution declaring those results. So earlier this year, Mayor and Council approved an ordinance for the purpose of submitting to all qualified voters within the city the question of issuing City of Alpharetta general obligation bonds in the amount of $29,500,000 for park projects throughout the city and any of those costs and expenses incident to those bonds. And in that election, 5,028 voters, agreed to that by voting yes on that item. And Fulton County did provide the results of that part of the election as well. And we're just here presenting those votes to you guys this evening for approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from council? Mr. Stacy, would you please read the resolution?
A resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta Parks Bond referendum election held on November 2, 2021, whereas pursuant to an ordinance approved and adopted by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, hereinafter council on June 28, 2021, an election was called to be held in the City of Alpharetta, Georgia on Tuesday, November 2, 2021, for the purpose of submitting to the qualified voters of the city the question of issuing City of Alpharetta general obligation bonds in the aggregate principal amount of $29,500,000 for the following purposes: 1, $7,500,000 for the additional development of the Alpha Loop; 2, $2 million for the farmhouse park design and build out; 3, $500,000 for the Mid-Broadwell Park build-out. 4, $3 million for the Old Rucker Park design and build-out. 5, $1 million for the Turf Web Bridge large soccer field. 6, $3.25 million for the Union Hill Park redevelopment trailhead. 7, $1.25 million for the Water Roads Park design and build-out. 8, $5 million for the Wills Park equestrian renovation build-out. 9, $6 million for the Wills Park master plan projects, and 10, paying the costs and expenses incident to the issuance of the bonds. And whereas due and proper legal notice of the election was provided as required by law, and whereas the city contracted with Fulton County to conduct the election on behalf of the city, and whereas the election was held on November 2, 2021, and conducted in all respects in accordance with the election laws of the state of Georgia, Fulton County, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Alpharetta, and whereas the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections hereinafter Board as election superintendent has certified to the city that the results of the election were as follows. Shall general obligation bonds in the principal amount of $29,500,000 be issued by the city of Alpharetta, Georgia, for the purpose of providing funds to pay or to be applied or contributed toward the cost of providing for 1, $7,500,000 for the additional development of the Alpha Loop. 2, $2 million for the Farmhouse Park design and build-out. 3, $500,000 for the Mid-Broadwell Park build-out. 4, $3 million for the Old Rucker Park design and build-out. 5, $1 million for the Turf Web Bridge large soccer field. 6, $3.25 million for the Union Hill Park redevelopment / trailhead. 7, $1.25 million for the Waters Road Park design and build-out. 8, $5 million for the Wills Park equestrian renovation build-out. 9, $6 million for the Wills Park master plan projects, and 10, paying the costs and expenses incident to the issuance of the bonds. Yes, 5,028. No, 1,687. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the results of the election as set forth above are hereby declared by the mayor and city council as the results of the November 2, 2021 City of Alpharetta Parks Bond referendum election.
Thank you, Mr. Stacy. Do we have any questions from council? Seeing none. James, do we have any public comment cards?
Not on this item, sir.
But if there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak on the resolution for the Parks Bond item. If you have any comments, excuse me, I must have said questions unintentionally. If you have comments and would like to come forward at this time, now is your opportunity to do so. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir. I move that we approve the resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta Parks Bond referendum election held on November 2nd, 2021.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Binder, a second by Councilwoman Richard, and that was to adopt the resolution declaring the results of the City of Alpharetta Parks Bond referendum election held November 2nd, 2021, and the resolution as read by City Attorney Mike Stacy. Any comments? Councilman Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to thank Martine and Holly back in the back for being good stewards of the bond committee and getting people out to vote for the things that the people in this community actually live here for. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank them and to thank the 5,028 people who voted against it. It's pretty sizable. Can't imagine who'd be against it.
I'd like to.
Councilwoman Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to add my thanks to our bond committee, Martine and Holly. I know that you guys worked really hard on that, and a 75% passage rate is extremely impressive. So thank you for all your work.
I would just echo those comments. Thank you all for all your hard work. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilman Binder.
I want to say thank you as well, but also apologize for phone calling you all the time and asking how we're doing. But no, you guys are fantastic citizen leaders, and it was great seeing everybody come together, so really appreciate it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. Next item up on new business will be Fiscal Year 2022 Law Enforcement Training Program Grant. Director Robinson, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are asking for your approval for the submission of the FY 2022 Law Enforcement Training Program grant application and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents. If you remember, 2 or 3 months ago, I was here before you talking about repurposing the courthouse for a training center, which we have moved forward with that, and we have submitted a mid-year budget item on that. But the big part of that project is the multi-purpose training house that we want to put into this location. And so this grant actually would help us cover that. The cost of that's going to be $46,130, and if we're able to get the grant, that would pay for that portion of the training center that we need. And that, if you'll remember, this multi-purpose tool will allow us to do a great deal of de-escalation training and other scenario-based training, which will be a tremendous benefit for us with this training center. So this grant would help us pay for that, and that would be one less thing we would need to worry about paying for out of the upcoming budget.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for Director Robinson on this item? Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
There are no comments on this item, sir.
But if there is anyone here that would like to come forward and speak on this item, now is your opportunity to do so. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that council approve submission of the fiscal year 2022 Law Enforcement Training Program grant application and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
I have a motion by Councilman Heitz, second by Councilman Merkel, and that was to approve the submission of the fiscal year 2022 Law Enforcement Training Program grant application and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously. Next item up under new business, and the final item under new business will be the consideration of letter to support GTIB grant application. Director Sisevich, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is a request on behalf of Public Works via the North Fulton Community Improvement District for the City of Alpharetta to submit a letter of support for a $2 million GTIP, which is Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank grant. This grant the CID has won over past years, paid for the Mansell Triple Fs, the Georgia 400 westbound work, Winter Parkway work, as well as the Davis Drive extension, and most definitely the Encore Parkway improvement project. So they've earned over $6 million over the last several years going after this grant, and so this was take care of one of our T-SPLOS Tier 2 projects. So free up some cash flow if we get that 100% in T-SPLOS 2 funding throughout the 5 years.
Thanks, sir. Pete, could you kind of explain why this was added so late, just for council and the public's notice?
The North Fulton CID was working on the application, and they've asked us for a last-minute letter of recommendation and trying to get things in before I think it's the end of this week. The application is due. If it's not this week, it's next week, and we don't have another meeting. And we didn't realize that application. I did not realize the application was due at the end of this calendar year.
All right. I just wanted to explain, it was last minute. I received notice on Friday asking me to sign the letter. Since I wanted to have the opportunity, we had one more council meeting to bring that before council and the public to let everyone know, make sure there were no objections to submitting this application. Any discussion from council? Any questions for the grant? Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, sir.
But if anyone would like to come forward and speak on the consideration of the letter of support for the GTIB grant application, now is your chance to do so. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that the council approve the authorization of the mayor to sign and submit a letter of supporting the North Fulton Community Improvement District's application for grant funding through the State Road and Tollway Authority and to aid in funding in the Kimball Bridge Road Corridor Multimodal Gap and Connection.
Second.
Have a motion to approve the consideration of the letter of support for the GTIB grant application as outlined by Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell, seconded by Councilman Burnett. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate y'all getting on that quickly. That will wrap up the new business portion of tonight's meeting, and we'll move on to public comment. If there's anyone here that hasn't had an opportunity to speak and would like to do so, now is your chance.
The first speaker card that we have this evening, Mr. Mayor, is from Mr. Jamie Bindle.
Good evening. I'm Jamie Bendel, 235 Crabapple Chase Court here in the city of Alpharetta. Mr. Mayor, council members, and some assorted city staff. I wanted to come before you for two reasons. One, I haven't had an opportunity to thank you in person for my reappointment to the Planning Commission. It is my great pleasure to be able to serve in that capacity, and I thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to do that. I also wanted to come here tonight and express my thanks and gratitude to the two departing council members, Ben Burnett and Karen Richards. In my view, they have both served this community very well and in ways that are not always readily seen. I remember the enthusiasm and optimism they brought to this chamber when first elected during what was seen as a transitional time in the city, and I hope that they are departing with the satisfaction that can come from accomplishing some of your goals and from a job well done. On a personal note, I am very thankful for both of your friendship. I also want to congratulate Councilman Mitchell and the gentlemen who will be taking their place, and hope that as the new council returns to work in January, that all who are tasked with serving this community, that you do so with a renewed sense of collaboration as you work towards keeping Alpharetta the jewel that it is. I wish you all the happiest and healthiest of holiday seasons. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Do we have any other comment cards, Ms. Shapiro?
We do not, sir.
But if there is anyone else who would like to come forward and speak, now is your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Reports.
Sir?
Pardon? If you don't mind, Bob and I have a report right quick, correct? Sure. Is there anyone else we need to bring up? Okay. Councilman Burnett, Councilwoman Richard, if you could, please join us up front. Any other council members that?
My only comment was to remind everybody that we're continuing the Friday night lights outside, Christmas, for one more Friday. So 5 o'clock on, there'll be all kinds of characters out there, all kinds. So.
There usually are.
What's that? Snow flurries, selfies with Santa, all the above. That's all I got.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Pat Fox, if you're out there watching, please note. Anyone who would like to step down and join us, please do so. As our astute resident just pointed out, we do have two council members that will no longer be serving after this year. This is our final scheduled council meeting for this year. And so we wanted to recognize their service. Councilman Burnett, Councilwoman Richard. They're both people who I've known for quite some time and friends for quite some time. And although we have had our various political discussions and disagreements, I do appreciate their service, and anyone who has put their name into the ballot knows what I'm talking about. It takes a special commitment to our community to be willing to run for office. And not only that, these two citizens have served honorably for the last 4 years. So I wanted to take a moment to recognize that and present them with a couple of mementos, just in case they should ever forget the craziness that went on here for 4 years. So I guess I'll let others speak first, and then I'll let them. Is there anyone who would like to say anything?
I would mimic so much of what you said. I mean, to put your name on a ballot and see it through in 4 years or more on a council is a daunting task. It is a servant's heart because, you know, as we used to say, we don't do it for the money, but we wouldn't do it for free. It can be a rough job at times. So at the end of the day, I want to thank you both and appreciate all that you've added to the city.
I'd like to say thanks to both of you. Ben, I'll start with you first. To say that you rock the world, rock our council. You're very innovative and you think outside the box and you're a forward thinker and you think, what can we get done and how can we get it done? And I think that's admirable, and you've spent 4 years trying to make Alfreda a better place. And I want to say as your friend and colleague that I really appreciate all that you've done for the city. And then Karen, I've told so many people that you're the smartest person on council, and I still, as you leave, I still believe that what you've brought to the table here and your diligence you were so specific, you were so thorough in your investigation of every zoning ordinance, and you communicated that with the citizens in a way that helped them to be a part of the whole process. And so I think we're all the lesser for both of you leaving tonight, and I wish you both well as you move into the future and pursue other dreams. So thank you.
Well, I will have to say what I really appreciated is I knew you two, but we didn't really know each other too well, and so. Personally, I get y'all's friendship out of this and out of the 4 years, and it's been a fun ride. I will say when Ben first got on, I challenged it, you know, be someone or do something, and you definitely did a lot of stuff. So you think outside of the box, you take any challenge and you go after it, and we've all been better for it. And I will agree with Pro Tem Mitchell there, Councilmember Richard, that you are the smartest one. On the council, and you've always challenged me and challenged us, and we've all been the better for it. And I'm hoping that every once in a while you'll call to challenge me on something that I did. Like, well, I wish I had that one back. But just personally and selfishly, just really appreciative of the friendship that I have with you two. And we'll definitely miss y'all on council, but y'all are on for exciting and greater things. And just really appreciate the service that you've done, not only on council, but just also with the groups that you've been with previously. So thank you.
And I want to thank you guys as well to serve alongside you. And I was trying to distill you down to 2 words. And for Ben, it's fearless. I sat in a room with Ben over at a major employer, and he looked across the table and said, "We need $2 million from you for something." And he didn't bat an eye, and he didn't crack a smile, and Ben is fearless. And I'm in awe of how thorough Karen has been in her community development liaison position and preparing council for each and every meeting and contacting us and sending us out the reports and talking through the issues before each meeting. So thank you for everything you've done. You both have made me a better council person. Thank you.
Can I make a remark as, I guess, the leader of the workforce, that we've never had 2 council people who have loved our workforce more than y'all. You have supported every action that staff has brought to y'all to lift up, to approve compensation plans and pay plans. You've asked really good questions. You've made us do the work, but the workforce will miss y'all. Yeah, you are smart, Karen. Yeah, I remember the only time I came before the Planning Commission was to talk to you all about the city center, and you were on the Planning Commission then, and yeah, it was a good evening. It was a long evening, but yeah, I think everything turned out well. So thanks for that. And Ben, every time I see the Christmas tree, I'll think of you and the efforts and connecting the dots and networking. You've given kids an opportunity to go to higher education when some probably would not have had that opportunity. And that's a really good thing. So thanks, y'all. I will miss you. The staff will miss you.
Okay. So after 4 years of serving on council with Councilmember Burnett, I know that I need to not follow you in public comments. I am not going to follow you. So I'm not one to hog the mic usually, but that is definitely something I'm not going to do if I can help it. I would like to say thank you to my fellow colleagues on council. Serving as a city councilwoman for 4 years and a planning commissioner for 6 years before that has been truly such a rewarding experience for me. I love our city. My husband and I settled here in 2005, and for the last 10 years, I've had the privilege of being a public servant in our city. And I can tell you, to our fellow board commissioners that are sitting out there, you know this. I mean, it's a gratifying experience, but it's also a demanding experience. But when you love a city as much as I do, and as my family does, the opportunity to give back is tremendous, and something that I will remember for always. And I have to thank my family. My husband John is here. I dragged him out at the last minute to show up because I saw the Burnett kids here, and I thought, oh my goodness. But pressure. But my family has been so supportive of my desires to serve as a public official, and without their love and support and their patience and their flexibility, I would never have been able to serve for 10 years like I have. So, honey, thank you, and thank our two wonderful sons that were too busy to be here as well. I now also thank Mayor Gilvin for giving me the opportunity to serve as the Community Development Liaison. That I remember back in the spring of 2018 when you told me you were going to move that responsibility over to me. My first reaction was that was a really weighty responsibility for a newly elected official. So clearly, I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I was intimidated by it, but I jumped in and had a great department lead to work with, and I've enjoyed every moment of that. Kathy's department, to be working with a department that is such a high-performing department was a privilege to me. And I look forward to more exciting things now that she's also heading up economic development for our city. I think that's going to be very exciting. And lastly, you guys, I can say guys, because
You can.
I can. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve with all of you. And as the mayor alluded to, we do have our differences, and I think we had some very spirited debates on council, different viewpoints and different opinions, but I think we all come from the same place, and that is with a outstanding love and passion for our city. And to me, that's what's the most important. So thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, and I also want to thank the mayor for not putting me over community development. Because I sat on the planning commission, it's hard enough to read through agenda after agenda. I had a really good friend that called me today named Rodney Bullard, who runs the Chick-fil-A Foundation. He's a great man, went to the Air Force Academy, worked in the Bush White House. And I thought back of the things that we got to do that you never read about. Like when all the churches came out before the FDA announced they were giving out, food for children who were food insecure. And there were so many of you, the mayor was one of them, James was one of them, and we had phone calls with churches and NGOs, and there were literally, like, it was amazing how much money that we raised just to sit there and, you know, feed kids in this community. You read about the things that we disagree about, but nobody ever saw the meetings that we would have the next day where 7 people who ripped each other's heads off the night before pulled in the same direction because we knew what mattered. And it wasn't necessarily about one issue or another. That, you know, the city is a really, really special place. And I always tell everybody, if you are on the city council in Alpharetta, you can ask anybody for anything in the world, and they're an idiot if they don't do it. Because you have 2 jobs for every person. It's a forward-looking place. It's 50% Republican. It's 50% Democrat. Everybody gets along. It makes no sense. But it's a really, really special thing. And everybody that I see, you know, that works, whether you sit on a board or a commission, you look out for the 3 feet that are in front of you. And you do everything you can to control that 3 feet, and everybody kind of moves forward. And sometimes that's harmonious, and sometimes that's acrimonious. But it continues to say, after 4 years, can you look and see tangible things that you have done for the people that you work for, the constituents, the professional staff? And hell yeah, I can. There's you know, a ton of infrastructure improvements that are coming. You know, I love Jim. I've battled with him over everything, but nobody saw that we and the Pro Tem went and sat down with GDOT and brought $100 million worth of stuff back here. And those are things that you got to do where you left the room and you were like, did that just happen? And it's about being best, doing the best thing with every dollar. And I will never pass on anything that I did. I don't regret anything. And I'll just close here. I chose not to run for city council because I really, truly felt like I wouldn't finish another term. Because I don't know what that opportunity is, but I can guarantee you that you will see my name on the ballot in the near future. Thank you.
So Bob, if you will,
Sure.
present the items that you
I
prepared.
got the one for Ben here, and I'll listen.
I've been working out.
Yeah, you might need this. Yeah, so this was actually Donald's idea a few years ago to start this tradition, and it's, I think, a cool memento of your years of service here. Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, we love you, man. Okay.
I bet this thing weighs 40 pounds.
I think it's 10. Just 10. Yeah, Karen,
It's 10.
It's 10, 40, it's government math.
Do we have anybody that can grab a picture right quick?
Don't get in, I'll get on this. Come back up here.
Are we even? Thank you.
Thank you.
And not to be anticlimactic, but we do have one more report, I believe. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Yes, and this is a sad one. We always try and mention folks who have been especially active in coming to our council meetings. And this past weekend, Miss Ruth Ann Tatum was buried. And I know you will remember her. She would always come forward, and she was always cheerful. She was artful, and she very colorful and sometimes in the way she described things or requested things. But she died of COVID this past week, and I think it was a surprise to all of us. But she was very active within our city. She loved Alpharetta, and she'll be missed as a part of this council.
Thanks, sir. Any other reports? Well, as Councilman Merkel said, it just wouldn't be right to send off our leaving council members without one last executive session, so I must ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? We have a motion to adjourn into executive session by Councilwoman Richard, a second by Councilman Merkel. All those in favor, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. Yes. And it does pass, 5-2. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. We'll see you next year. Thank you for everything.